With the advent of spooky vampire shows in movies such as Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Blade, the WWF felt that they should bring in a vampire character. Well, at least Vince Russo. So at this point in time, Vince McMahon was adamant that he didn't want a vampire character in the WWF. He didn't understand or see why they should have one on the roster. Gangrel had seen the Lost Boys and felt compelled to do this vampire thing. It was a long process of getting it to happen. On a random Friday, Vince Russo told Gangrel that they're doing the vampire thing and we're going to have him debut on Sunday Night Heat. Russo is also the one who constructed the amazing entrance with the fire and all that crazy stuff, and all Gangrel had to do was choose his look. Well, they told me, and Vince McMahon himself told me, that they would never use a vampire character and that I'm not using a vampire character. It was Vince Russo that somehow got a little bit of control and slid it in there. When they signed me, they told me, don't get upset because we're going to send you home. You're probably going to sit at home for about a year and don't worry. I was under contract for like a week and they called me up and said, can I still do the vampire thing? Vince Russo, came up with that entrance. It all happened on a Friday night and it debuted on a Sunday or that Monday. It happened over a weekend. They came up with the lift and the fire, and what I had influence over was the outfit, the goblet, the spraying of the blood, but the entrance with the ring and the fire was all Vince Russo. It's because we were all Kiss fans and it's kind of a tribute to Kiss. So there it is. Now, as I said, Buffy the Vampire Slayer was airing and Blade had released later that week, which is ironic. Gangrel emerged victorious in his debut match and easily caught the attention of Edge. Edge was another mysterious guy who was around for 2 months, but nobody knew what he was about. It was clear that there was a past between these two, but it was unknown exactly what was up. They ended up crossing paths and Gangrel told Edge that his blood flows through his veins. Then to top it all off, a mysterious guy interfered in Edge's match with Owen Hart, and he was more than confused by his appearance, and this led to the King of Hearts scoring the W. The next night, Edge was on the verge of winning a #1 contenders match for the Intercontinental Championship when Gangrel came in with the guy. This distraction allowed D'Lo to hit sky high and become #1 contender. It didn't take long for this mysterious guy to debut. Apparently, he as well was a wrestler, and he went by the name of Christian. He was revealed to be Edge's little brother, and at Judgment Day in Your House, he captured the light heavyweight championship. Edge, I should also note, watched on from the stands. The commentary also mentioned the lack of a history, as nobody knew Christian was a wrestler or anything like that. Edge realized he had a choice to make, and on the October 26, 1998 episode of Raw's War, he did just that. After Kane and Gangrel's match, the duo tried attacking. Kane was overpowered, and this is when Edge made an appearance, and he decided, you know, I'm gonna join these guys. He chop blocked him, and the trio attacked. Kane sat up, but one thing that was clear was that Edge, who was a known enemy of Gangrel's, was now side by side with him. Together, this trio was collectively known as the Brood. The commentary always mentioned their great potential, the fact that they had a gothic lifestyle, not vampires. They never ever mentioned that they were vampires, but mentioned that they lived a gothic lifestyle, and the commentary felt that they would make noise in the WWF. Already, the Brood was going up against the likes of DX on Raw, but Kane still had a score to settle with the group, and at one point he tried setting them on fire. These guys tried like hell to outnumber him, but he overwhelmed them. Soon enough, the Brood found their first feud, the Job Squad. On the November 22nd episode of Heat, Gangrel faced Al Snow. Bob Holly got involved during the match, which led to Too Cold Scorpio and Edge battling in the ring, and meanwhile Christian had to face a jobber by the name of Dwayne Gill for the light heavyweight championship. Christian whooped his ass but preferred to let this continue for a while. The Job Squad interfered and Christian had it won, but then Tube Cold off the top dropped him, and Dwayne Gill's the new champion. That's Christian's reaction when he heard about the Blue Dot. In their rematch, the Blue Meanie Men are running, and soon enough, these two teams were going to face off. Win? Rock bottom in your house. The Brood was victorious, but the feud still continued. For the trio, they brought in the bloodbath, which turned out to be one of the most iconic things they're known for. Al Snow was going insane after this and saying they did it to him again, which confused the commentary team. And with regards to the bloodbath, Gangrel and Edge came up with it while watching Blade. There was this crazy ass scene in the beginning where these people were having a rave, a big ass party, and they started getting showered with blood. It was some insane stuff, especially when you see what they put out in newer Marvel movies. But it wasn't original for the Brood. That's where they got it from. Al Snow was so crazy that he refused to take a shower or change his attire. Head was not the same as well. The Brood started doing this bloodbath thing very often from here on, and they followed up with Val Venus and then DX. After Edge lost to Triple H, the Brood went after them. They went after D-Generation X, and by the time the lights went out, it was the Road Dogg who was the victim. As a result of this led to a good-ass hardcore match between Road Dogg and Gangrel for the title. It was standout because there wasn't these type of matches on TV. Sure, someone might get thrown through the announce table, but it was never more than that. This match had a bunch of stuff to it. Gangrel was super resilient during this match, and Road Dogg had to throw everything and give him hell to score the win. It's easily one of the best hardcore matches in Road Dogg's title reign. As for Gangrel, one of his most memorable matches came at the Royal Rumble. At this point, the Brood had built a reputation. People knew who they were and were given a reaction. People actually cared about them. X-Pac here was one of the World Wrestling Federation's best in-ring workers. He was extremely reliable, and going up against somebody like Gangrel, who had the skills as well, It was nice. The thing is though, nobody talks about that. No one gives a damn about this match. Why? Because Teddy Long had made his WWF referee debut and he screwed up the pinfall. The rollover was a 3 and Gangrel technically should have been the new champion. X-Pac ended up hitting the X Factor to retain. Now, I couldn't find this once again, but there's this interview, I literally remember watching it. Gangrel spoke about this match and said that if it wasn't for a backstage incident he felt he wasn't responsible for, he would have won the title. Now, unfortunately, the night the Brood was their most over was the night where they were tied down. On the February 1st, 1999 episode of Raw's War, the Brood faced The Undertaker's Ministry. The Undertaker was featured in the match but preferred to watch from a distance. The Brood did their work, but they were outnumbered, and the referees tried to separate them, but they preferred to take the beating. Gangrel was almost choked out here legit, and this was revealed to be an initiation. Why? Because the Brood were a part of the Ministry now. Now, personally, this was an L booking decision. I think the Brood were so much better as their own guys. They were way more over than the Acolytes, Midian, and Viscera, and I guess Creative didn't have much for them. They were still doing their thing, but it was under the Ministry. They were helping The Undertaker do stuff such as giving him a noose to hang the boss man at WrestleMania 15, and their entrance at the show was pretty damn cool. After Christian revealed Stephanie McMahon's location to Ken Shamrock, The Undertaker had it out for him. He asked his guys to put Christian on the symbol, and Gangrel and Edge had enough. A brawl ensues, and like a vampire, Christian soared through the sky attacking. They're brawling, Mankind makes a save, and The Undertaker disappears. Now, the Brood's rivalry with the Ministry was very one-sided. They lost to Midian and the Acolytes at Backlash before moving on to other things. The reasoning for why the Brood left the Ministry was explained on the first episode of SmackDown. Okay, this was a very moment in their run. So Doc Hendricks interviews the group, and Gangrel starts cutting a promo like he was already speaking. He said that they didn't speak by choice, but then it was forbidden by The Undertaker. And he was so damn vague about things here. He's talking about the light of guidance. This promo will leave you dizzy. Doc said that some people believe the Brood was wild, and Edge said that they will understand. And the vagueness was here, but it was coherent. It's more coherent than Gangrel's promo. Edge said that they will become what they will become, and he told Doc that the freaks come out at night. At this point, he realized, screw it, and he said that this was just a gimmick, and Gangrel was pressed. He said that they know who they are and what they're capable of, and he said that Doc's confused before calling him Michael. Then the lights went out, and they jumped him, and Doc Hendricks was a victim of the bloodbath. Oh my god, this was one of the worst promos ever. No doubt about it. Gangrel himself knows that it wasn't good. The material given to him was confusing. He didn't have much promo skills and it was awkward. He spoke positively about Edge going into business for himself and wished he said that beware, take care because the freaks come out at night, quote, or just anything that resembled his actual personality. But for Edge, and showed that he had a huge future ahead of him. Even regardless of this promo, but it certainly made them feel good about this young guy. A couple of weeks later, Doc Hendricks wanted to return the favor, and he intelligently tricked the Brood into turning the lights off, because when they came back on, the Hardys were standing side by side, and the Brood were the victims of the bloodbath. After getting covered in tomato sauce, they attacked a while later. The next night, the Brood wasn't interested in making a good entrance, and they were fuming over the bloodbath and immediately went on the attack. This six-man tag was full of heat, and these guys had a chip on their shoulder to prove that there's something special about them. What's funny, though, is Michael Hayes' attire. Man was having a midlife crisis. Jeff Hardy in particular was wild, and he was doing some stuff that was unusual in WWF 1999. Then Edge comes in from out of nowhere with a spear that screamed, "I want a damn push," and the match ended in a double DQ, which you saw glimpses of something special. The action and speed in which these men were wrestling was almost unknown in the WWF at the time. Soon the Hardys' receipt came when they received a bloodbath on heat. These two teams hated each other's guts. They were costing each other matches and just flying all over the place. At the same time, the Brood wanted the tag team titles. They gave the Acolytes a bloodbath after the champions issued a challenge to any team, but Michael Hayes and the Hardy Boys didn't want a good thing for them, so they observed the match from a close distance. The Acolytes win right afterwards. They jumped Christian like he was the one that booked them like jobbers for years, and this led to a six-man elimination match on Heat. This one was too damn ridiculous. It was cracked up, especially for WWF 1999 standards. Quick eliminations, super spears, like damn. The Brood were on the verge of losing, but Christian made a huge comeback with the help of Too Much. This match lasted for 4 minutes, and it was full of action, and it's easily an important match in the chapters of Edge and Christian and the Hardys. It was a little thing, but if you were to watch it, you understand why I'm saying that. Their match at King of the Ring ended after the Acolytes ruined everything, so it was put on the official show, because the match was on Heat. Once again, an awesome tag team match between these both sides. I really think these matches are what caused WWF to be like, yeah, this Brood thing has run its course. We gotta do something with these guys. They looked amazing entering the ring. They had good matches, but man, Edge and Christian had a lot more to offer as a tag team than a trio. This match also caused the beginning of the end for the Brood. During the match, Gangrel accidentally spat the blood, or as the commentary called it, the substance, in Edge's face, leading to the twist of fate. Edge in other places was slowly turning into a baby face. He saved a hoe from an attack, and at this point, the hoes wanted him. Gangrel, though, didn't understand this. Hey, yo, what the f? At this point, Gangrel was bitter. He hated the Godfather. He hated Val Venus. He wanted to attack them, and Edge and Christian had to put a stop to this. Later that night, Edge beat the big boss man, and it was a huge win for him, but he attacked afterwards. Christian tried making the save, and instead of sending him running, he preferred to grab the key. Boss man took advantage, and Gangrel was nowhere to be found. So what was up with that? Well, later that week, it seemed like all was solved. Gangrel said that with the passing of adversity comes strength. Then all of a sudden, he dropped Edge and turned on him. That's literally it. So that was basically the end of the Brood. The next night, they faced off on Raw. The match ended in a double DQ, and Gangrel threw him to hell or something. I don't even know. He tried going after him later that week on Heat, but was a bit unsuccessful. Christian, on the other hand, had a better relationship with Gangrel. He gave Jarrett a bloodbath for him, which led to Jarrett blaming it on Edge, which led to a brawl between those two. Of course, this was revealed to be Gangrel because on Heat, he helped Christian beat Viscera by spewing the red liquid. Edge, meanwhile, had won the IC title in Toronto the previous night, and it was one of the most surprising victories because it had occurred at a live event. It also showed how much they believed in Edge to have him beat the ultimate mid-carder Jeff Jarrett. Gangrel is the biggest hater, though. He didn't want to see Edge winning, so he cost him the title at Fully Loaded. He dragged Christian away from Edge in their tag team match the next night, and at this point, he had a decision to make. It seemed like Christian was leaning towards Gangrel, and Edge was very, very upset by this. On the August 2nd, 1999 episode of Raw's War, Edge faced Gangrel in the bloodbath match. Edge was very disappointed with Christian's decision, but said that he'll have to live with it. The match itself was very competitive, back and forth, but it seemed like Gangrel was going to score the victory. All of a sudden, the lights go out, and when they turn on, it was Gangrel who was covered in whatever. Christian stood atop, and Edge was victorious, and the two brothers had a little moment before embracing, and you know the saying. Blood is thicker than water. Gangrel did return the following week facing Christian. Things were very intense between these two, but during the match, the Hardys interfered, leading to Gangrel scoring the victory. They attacked him afterwards. Edge tried making the save but failed, and Michael Hayes wanted to see what's up, so they attacked him, and the new Brood was formed. Once again, these guys had the entrance and looked down perfectly. You know, these guys had it down too. They had the cool-ass attires. They had their hands to their heads, just staring down. Their hair's wet. It was awesome, you know? Like, the new Brood's entrances were something special. The new Brood itself didn't last really long. They were mostly feuding with Edge and Christian, which led to a best of 7 series. This was all over 100K and Terry Runnels' managerial services. There was some good matches to come from this, but the final match, the ladder match, No Mercy, is one of the most influential, one of the most iconic matches in WWE history. I said it before, but Razor and Shawn walked so these guys could run. You do this stuff today, you're not going to get over. That's how it is. The reason why these guys got so over was because of how innovative their offense was. You weren't seeing this kind of stuff in 1999 WWF. Oh, leg drop off the top. You weren't seeing that. Moonsault, backflip, whatever the hell it was that these guys were doing, you weren't seeing it. The Hardys won this thing, which was an amazing, iconic match. And the next night they realized, hey, Gangrel, we don't want to be with him. So they turned on him. So now the Hardy Boys were baby faces. They went on to have an iconic run. Okay, so that's the Brood. These guys did not even last long. 9 months. 9 months of a tag team, yet they're still remembered to this very day. Why? They were iconic. They had an iconic look. The entrance itself was something special. And everything other than that is not really memorable. You know, they were losing a lot. They didn't really have many storylines. Their promo, the one time where they actually spoke, was one of the worst promos of the year. But as I said, the look, the entrance, that's what makes them stand out. Yet in the day, the Brood was never supposed to be more than it was. It was supposed to be a launching pad for Edge and to a lesser extent Christian. For Gangrel, he was just leading the guys, giving them some advice, experiences, and that. He wasn't really going to get a push. That said, I do think he should have won the European title when he faced X-Pac. It would have been cool to see him holding the title, doing the entrances, and that would have been nice. But yeah, the Brood was literally just something for Edge. Then it became, to a lesser extent, something for Christian as well. Easily one of the most coolest, iconic tag teams of the Attitude Era. Should they have won the tag titles? Maybe. But at the end of the day, Edge and Christian became one of the greatest tag teams of all time, and this was because of the fact that they were paired with each other in the Brood. So yeah, as for the new Brood, it just happened. They had some good matches with Edge and Christian. Their entrance was fire. It was awesome. But again, it was literally the same exact thing as it was with the original Brood. It was just to help Jeff and Matt gain more experience, which honestly, they had a lot of experience at this point. But it was similar to the Edge and Christian thing from earlier on. Alright, what you guys think of the Brood? Please comment down below. And that's it for this video. Make sure you hit the Unported on the like button, or perhaps the spear on the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.